Welcome to All Things Serious. Today is the first video of what I call story time. And I have a story from one of my subscribers that I will be sharing with you guys. This story started before I was born. I was underdeveloped at 8 months gestation. I weighed 3 pounds and had no lung development. The doctors gave my mother growth hormones to get my lungs developed. Less than a month later, I was born at 9 pounds and mostly developed lungs. I spent the first month of my life in NICU and then had to go back to the hospital every day for the second month. I had asthma and had to be on medication for that my whole life, along with severe allergies. I was diagnosed as mildly autistic when I was 7, but my wonderful parents forgot about it. And I grew up not knowing why I was different from other kids. My parents were very religious, and I was a bit overboard, and it was not healthy on a mental level. My parents were mildly abusive because they thought they could just put their hands on me until I was normal. My parents were not very supportive of me on an emotional level. My dad taught me a lot about cars and building things. I learned to fish and hunt, which I enjoyed doing. I struggled in school because I was not able to learn the way other kids did, which led to me feeling uneducated. I ended up with low self esteem because I got bullied for being different from other kids. I was always talented with music, and I am self taught on 7 instruments total. I have been in many competitions and won many awards for my talent. I ended up dropping out of high school 3 times before I graduated from an adult learning center. I never thought I would go to college or be able to hold any decent job. I set my standards low because my family treated me like I was never going to be able to do anything and I would just fail. When I turned 20, I married my now ex husband that I have known since I was 16. I thought he was the best I would ever find, given he didn't drink, do substances, and he held a good job. Little did I know that he was abusive. His family treated me far better than my biological family ever did. After about 6 years of abuse, I left with my 2 kids. I went back to live with my mother for what was supposed to be a short period of time. She kept convincing me that it was better if we all lived together. My mother was very controlling and abusive to me during this time. I didn't know that while I was at work in college, she was abusive to my children who are both on the autism spectrum. Then one day I got a call from my mother while I was out at work and on my lunch break, and she said, "Congratulations, you are a homeowner." She had gone to the landlord's office of the trailer park and signed the title of her old trailer over to me without talking to me about it or even having me there. This trapped me, and I had no time to adjust my budget to cover the extra expenses. I had tried to move out so many times and she begged me not to go. She had moved across the road from me. She then would call me to come over and clean her place repeatedly throughout the day. I got to the point that I couldn't even keep up with my own place. She would do this every day. Then my place got worse. She would call Child Protective Services and then make me look bad because I was spending most of my waking time at work or cleaning her place. Because as soon as I got done with what she asked me, she would call me back over 10 minutes later saying she needed another thing done. I'd look like a bad mother because I was doing as my mother asked. It only got worse. And the longer time we went on to that point, I ended up moving to a bigger place and taking her with me so I didn't have to keep up with both places. After we moved to a rental house, she got worse. She ended up running me out of my own place because she swore I kept stealing her socks when she had loaned them to my brother. I moved in with my sister, who is just as bad as my mother. She wanted me to pay her bills, take care of her kids, and work, go to college, and keep up cleaning while she did what she pleased after she worked 40 hours a week at her job. I ended up leaving my sister's place and moved in with my ex husband to get away from my family. After a few months with my ex, my mother called and said she was going to a nursing home and we needed to move back into the rental house. I should have said no. She trapped me and my ex husband for another 6 years. She got so out of hand, her own family tried to help, and she just treated them the way she did me. Since 2021, I have not spoken to any blood relatives besides my father, and that is once a week. Call. I limit what I tell my father so he can't relay any info by accident. My kids are happier and I'm healing from what my mother put us through. This is an abridged version of my story. It's not pretty, but I'm getting past it. Thank you for joining me here with All Things Serious. And I will see you guys at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.